All right, all right. I said I was gonna do this every Saturday, so I'm back again. Another Saturday. It's another variant of the coronavirus out, but I think my people just got to the point where we just don't care no more. Like, you know, I was just thinking the other day about March 2020, like when everything was shut down and everybody was scared, but now it's like half of the people not even wearing masks and they're trying their best to scare everybody. Oh, this thing is bad, and it may be. I don't know. I'm not one of them people, but I say so. Just stay careful, stay diligent. Who knows what 2022 will bring? But I've been reading this book. I've only completed 5 chapters, and I'm not gonna say I'm really not gonna judge it yet. I just wanted to say that I'm really not really getting into it because maybe I'm just not impressed because I'm not really that impressed with like celebrities. So, I'm more into like older books, we kind of romanticize people who are dead, So, but, there's a part in the book where he explains like the beginning of hip hop and all. So that's pretty good, I'll talk about it a little more next week as I finish it. It's an easy reading book. Like I said, I think it would be very good for like a young person that said like maybe their 20s that don't really know his history, because I kind of know, I was there when he made Parents Just Don't Understand. I remember when he was a rapper and, before he was an actor and all. So it's kind of like I kind of grew up with him, I don't, he's a little older than me, but not by that much. So, just it's just kind of a basic book. He talks about his grandmother being like the most holy person. Like, who does it? You know what I mean? Like, who does it? See their grandmother in that light. I think most people would see their grandmother as being holy, especially in the black community, because the Christian religion was basically all they had at that time socially. So, you know, talked about his dad. It's very impressive. His dad was a businessman. He sold ice and all. And that's probably what the way he was. He didn't come from a single parent household. When he talked about his mother being very into education, I mean, he was like that last bastion. His generation, people his age, was like that last state before the crack came in, and in my generation to where most people didn't even have, some people didn't have two parents, much less one. I mean, some people, what I mean, some people didn't have one parent, much less two. you know so he comes from that world, like early 80s 70s, to where right before the black family just took a nosedive, which would be my era, 88, 89, when like nobody had parents. There's a lot of kids I grew up with that didn't have parents. They lived with the grandmother, they lived with an auntie, you know. I mean, I didn't grow up with my mother at all, So, people thought we was like, oh, but you live with your dad, like you so blessed, and I was, but it just was a different time at that time. But he grew up, Philadelphia, and it's kind of getting good. He talked about a cousin of his that introduced him to hip hop, and it's crazy because sometimes I'm talking to younger people and I'm telling them like how hip hop, like they didn't play it on the radio in them days. Like you had to have tapes, Somebody from New York had to send you a tape. They were recorded in parties. So, but those days are done, brother. Shoot, I could make an album right now. You could make an album at your house, put it on the internet. They could listen to China tomorrow. So, it's lost its value, in my opinion. But it's morphed like everything else. So, that's what's going on. December, we got 2 weeks till Christmas. So it would be December the 11th, 2021. You know, son, you're by your grandmother. That's like where you're at, or all the time on the weekend. Hopefully, when you get a little older, we start spending some Saturdays together, doing different things. But I know it's this time in your life that you know, you need to be with your grandmother right now at this age in your life. I know eventually you're gonna get bored with hanging with an older lady like that. So I'll be here. We could go do some things, ride some bikes or something, go outside. So I'm using this time. You know, some people would sit around and say, "Oh, I'm bored Saturday," and that's how I used to be. You know, I used to drink a lot on Saturdays and smoke, get loaded or whatever. But now I'm like, no, I could use this time because some people never have an empty house to do this. Well, like some people never don't even have the luxury. So this is my reading day, Saturday. So if you've read this book, you know, let me know if you're reading it or you're excited about it. What would a 20-year-old, what would a 15-year-old, what do you think about Will Smith? How do you see him? You probably see him as this big legend, you know, and I just see him as, you know, the Fresh Prince. So they say you always remember the first impression. That's how you always remember a person from the first time you saw him. So that's it. I'll be back next week. We'll talk about some other books. Peace.